You've seen it all before. Your FTP's solid, you're pacing climbs better, you're eating right, hydrating, doing everything the training plan says. But then the big climb hits and your legs just vanish. And it makes no sense. Your numbers say you're strong enough. You even paced it well. So why do you still crack? The truth is, it's not the climb that breaks you. It's what came before it. We're breaking down why your numbers say you should be fine, but your legs say otherwise. We're thinking about pre-fatigue, durability, and what newer studies are showing about how your body responds after hours in the saddle. Because if you're only training for threshold, you're missing the thing that matters most when it comes to going uphill. Let's start here. Most riders look at the moment they cracked, and then they assume that's where things went wrong. But performance doesn't collapse in a second. It degrades slowly over time and often invisibly. There's a name for this: pre-fatigue. It's the accumulated cost of what came before your key effort. In the Voigt et al. Study of 2025, cyclists performed time trials after 38.6 kilojoules per kilogram of prior work. That's 2,500 kilojoules of a typical sized rider. And what they found, even cyclists had significant power loss simply due to accumulated fatigue. So if you're wondering why you can't hit power on that final climb, it's not about weakness. It's about what you already spent. Here's where it gets sneaky. That easy section of the ride, the zone 2, the rollers, maybe a few accelerations out of corners, it doesn't feel hard, but it's quietly setting you up to fail later. Every little surge above your threshold, it's draining your W prime, your anaerobic energy reserve. Now, most riders think of W prime only matters for sprints or VO2 max work, but here's the reality. You're tapping into it anytime you ride above your critical power, even just for a few seconds. And if your W prime is already low by the time the climb starts, even a perfectly placed effort will feel impossible. This is how it sneaks up on you. You think you're riding conservatively. You feel fine heading into the climb, but your ability to produce power is already compromised. You're not just tired, you're in a recovered deficit, and you didn't see it coming. FTP is useful, but it only tells you what you can do fresh. The real question, what's left of your FTP 2 hours into a ride? That's where durability comes in. In that same Voigt study, researchers found the same training load caused different performance outcomes when riders were fatigued versus fresh. In other words, two riders with identical FTPs can have completely different outcomes on a long climb, depending on how well they hold power under fatigue. Durability isn't just about fitness, it's about resilience under load, and almost no training plans are built around that. Ever been in a climb where your target power should be fine, but it feels like you're pedaling through wet concrete? That's a mismatch between your capacity and your actual output. And no, it's not in your head. And here's something you probably didn't expect: mental fatigue matters too. Recent studies show that just 30 minutes of scrolling before a training session can mess with your decision making under pressure. And that really matters when you're 3 hours in, trying to pace a final climb. Symptoms of durability failure look like this: a slight drop in cadence. RPE goes up even at the same power, heart rate climbs, but output falls, and your threshold disappears. This isn't a pacing problem. It's not a motivation issue. This is your body failing to express power under fatigue, and unless you train that, it won't fix itself. Here's the good news. You can train durability. You just have to stop pretending FTP is the full story. Track durability in your data. If you're using Training Peaks, WKO, or similar, look at kilojoules before climbs. Watch for power to heart rate decoupling and monitor cadence drift over time. You'll start to see patterns that explain your ride failures better than FTP tests ever could. Number 2, train fatigue resistance directly. This means workouts like threshold after zone 2, tempo and VO2 max back to back, riding into intervals, not starting fresh. It's not ride longer, it's a ride tired, then work. Number 3, protect your W prime. Start thinking about those surges in the first 90 minutes. They add up. If you're showing up to key efforts already depleted, that's not bad luck, it's bad planning. If this hits home, if you've ever blown up late into a ride and thought, but I was pacing this right, now you know why. But it's not the only thing to consider when doing long rides. There's small tweaks to your form on the bike that can make big differences to your ride. To learn what they are, click on this video.